Hi everyone, this will be the last video in the AutoCAD tutorial series for the Steel Bridge team. I'm going to be drawing a full 3D bridge in this one. It's just going to be a generic model. It's not going to follow any specific rules. And I'm just kind of going to go through the steps on how I like to draw bridges. I'm not really going to do too much explaining of a lot of the commands. You can check out the previous videos for information on that. So just try to follow along, see how I do it. There's obviously more than one way to draw the bridge. I'm just going to go through how I like to do it. So first things first is to set up a bunch of different layers. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So here's the list of layers that I just made for this video. Deck, hanger, upper chord, webbing, cross frame, leg, and just assign them to different colors. In reality, you're going to use more layers than this. You're ideally going to want a different layer for every single different tube size you think you're going to have on the bridge. So you might have a couple more for chord, or a couple more for hangers, or deck, or whatnot. So first things first is let me change my units over to architecture, and then draw a generic 3'6" long piece. This is going to be the total length of my deck, and I'm going to make it 5 inches deep. So I always like to draw a quick rectangle so I kind of know the size of the box I'm working in here. We're going to go draw in some webbing. I like to offset my webbing 1 inch. So that kind of leaves space for a connection here, because in reality, you're going to have a connection. As I go through this, you'll see me draw a lot of lines that I mainly draw just for guidelines, and then I'll go back and delete. I'm going to change my angles here to 45 so that I can draw all of my webbing at 45-degree angles. So draw all of these in. Should be able to fit 4 triangles. Perfect. All right, I'll go ahead and delete some of these guidelines that I made. Now, when you're drawing your deck piece here, and when you import this into SAP, you need to break this top piece into a bunch of different sections. So every section between these webbings are going to be individual. That's because SAP won't recognize them as connected if you don't do that. So what I like to do is use my trim command here. And I'm just going to trim out every other one. This one I have to trim out there. And then fill them back in. So as you can see, I'm drawing each segment individually, and then when I highlight them, they're all just an individual segment. So this piece, again, just double checking, it's 3'6" long. I'm going to make 6 of these. I'm going to use the mirror command. That is the quickest way to duplicate this. Well, or you can use the copy command. I personally like to use the mirror command. I'll actually copy. Control-Shift copies, copy with base point. I'm going to select this point as my base. So when I go to paste it, it's going to have me snap to that point. Boom. There you go. We have one deck that is, it should be around 21 feet long. All right, so this is just 21 feet. The bridge for this, or the rules for this year, may have it a different one. So I'm just going to move this a little bit so it's away from our axis. Next thing I'm going to draw is I'm going to draw in some legs. We're going to make the deck 1 feet 9 inches tall. I typed inches twice there. Same thing over here, 1 feet 9 inches. All right. Next thing I like to do is draw in my upper chord. The upper chord typically is the maximum length is 5 feet. So I'm just going to draw a line that is 5 feet tall. Now, one thing you have to remember when you're drawing all of this is that these lines you're drawing are actually the center line of the tube. So, for example, if we're going to use 2 inch for the upper chord, we can't draw the upper chord maximum height at 5 feet because it's actually going to be 5 feet 1, because the radius of that is 1 inch. So I'm going to take this, I'm actually going to drop it down another 2 inches so that we have a little bit of breathing room up there. And just for simplicity's sake, okay, so now I'm going to go back, change my snapping angle down to 30. So just for ease, I'm just going to draw this at a 30-degree angle. But again, it could be, it could be anything else. You're going to have to iterate to do that. I have the line drawn. I might as well trim away the 2 ends. And now we're going to put just some generic hangers in. I'm going to take these, I'm going to draw them down to the bottom deck here. Do the same thing here. And I'm going to draw some angled ones that snap to the bottom middle. There we go. We kind of have a generic truss. I'm going to do a quick modification here. This is just for simplicity of this video. I'm going to take these points and I'm just going to drag them like that. Remember how I mentioned everything has to be meeting at a point. So that's just going to make it easier when we go in to draw the cross frames for these hangers. Okay, so now that you have this generic bridge drawn, we're going to jump into 3D space and we're going to offset the upper chord and hangers. Again, UCS is the command. I'm going to snap to the bottom of the leg here, set the x-axis along the leg, set the y-axis down in this view. And we're going to jump to our top view because that's, looking on the plane that we're drawing on. As you can see, we're looking through the bridge, so you don't really see much. We're going to highlight everything up here. Now, when you highlight in green, it's going to highlight everything in the z-axis as well. So it highlighted all the hangers and upper chord behind it. We're going to move this offset 5 inches. I just picked 5 inches. It may not be 5 inches for the rules, but typically that's approximately what we do to meet the clearance requirements. So I jumped back into 3D space here. You can see that the hangers and the upper chord are offset from the bridge. Now we're going to draw in some cross frames. I'm just going to draw in some lines for snapping all these hangers to the deck. Okay, that's 3 of them. I'm actually going to do the same thing for the upper chord, but I'm going to do this one a little differently. I'm going to take this point here and snap it down to there. Then I'm going to do the same thing at this end. Again, this is just an example. You typically draw your upper chord this way. For the hangers here, I actually want to draw another line like that. And then I'm going to do a line like that instead. So we're just going to go through and modify these 2 end hangers a little bit. Just like that one. Okay. So we fixed that. But now remember, we have to break this piece here because we can't. We need to have a junction at that point for SAP to recognize this. So I'm going to teach you a different command here. You type break, and then select the object. You want to type F to select your first point. You're going to click right there, and then it says specify second point. We're going to do the same spot, and as you can see, we now broke that piece into 2. We're going to do the same thing down here. Select the object, F for first, select the point. And then it says select second point, same spot. There we go. That's broken. This middle cross frame is going to be a little bit different. Normally, your hangers won't be coming in at this wide of an angle. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to take this member right here and Control-Shift-C copy this end point. I'm going to paste it a little bit further down the bridge. I'm going to snap to there. I'm going to do the same thing down here. going to delete that piece, and I'm going to move both these hangers down. So typically when you do draw your cross frame and your hangers in, you want to try to get your cross frame to follow the angle of your painter. So we're going to have cross frames that follow this angle in. So I just moved those because it's easier to draw 2D cross frames than it is to draw 3D cross frames. So now we are going to draw in the center portions, we'll call it, of these cross frames. Typically your deck is 32 inches apart, so I'm going to draw a 16-inch piece. And I'm going to Control-Shift-C to copy that and paste it to the bottom here. And then I'm going to do this for my other cross frames as well. I snapped to the wrong corner. Control-Shift-C, select here. Now remember, I don't have to move my coordinate system because I have something to snap to. That's why you want to make sure you have stuff to snap to. Oh, again, here's another mistake I made. We want to move this line over to there. I saw my little perpendicular snap pop up. So what we want to do is actually drag this over here. So I already fixed this one, so now you'll see it's all in line. But if you come down to this one, you'll see how it's offset, how it jumps over to here. So we're going to want to fix that. So what I just did over there, I snap to the bottom, I drag up to this top line, and I'm waiting for, there's my little perpendicular symbol to pop up. And I can drag that over. That one's good. That one's good. Then I want to delete both of those lines. Okay, that should fix it. All right. We're going to paste in these again. There we go. There's our cross frame getting pasted in. That cross frame getting pasted in. These two center cross frames are going to be a little bit more of a nuisance. What we're going to have to do here is we're going to have to reset our coordinate system. So we're going to UCS. We're going to select the point where those two meet. We're going to draw our X along the hanger and our Y along this little piece of cross frame. So now our drawing plane is in line with this hanger here. So I'm going to I'm going to copy this hanger from here. I'm going to paste it down here. So it intersects our deck right at that point where they intersect. So again, just for simplicity, I'm going to drag this over to here, drop it there, and then I am going to draw from here straight out. There, our little perpendicular symbol popped up. You know, sometimes things don't look perpendicular. That's because you're in 3D space. You're just going to have to trust that your snapping tools are working correctly. And then similar to the other cross frame, we're going to draw, or similar to the other hangers, we're going to draw on this angled member and shorten our cross frame up. So that's kind of what we want our cross frame to look like right now. We're going to do the same thing over here. Easiest way to do that is the mirror command. We know where the center of the bridge is. So I'm going to reset my coordinate system to the center here. Like that. Highlight both those pieces. MI for mirror it over. And then do some quick modifications over here. Okay. So again, we're going to want 16-inch long pieces. This time I'm only going to copy one of these. That's because these are on an angle, so they're not in line. While we're at this hanger, we're going to move this over so that everything's meeting at that junction point. So it'll be recognized in SAP. Same thing there. Now, your cross frames, the webbing in your cross frames is a little less important than in the deck. So just for ease, I'm just going to draw one diagonal piece of webbing like that. We're going to mirror this bridge over to get the second half. And when we mirror it, that will be when the other part of the bridge comes, or the other angled part of the cross frame comes through. Okay, so there we go. There you have it. We have half of a bridge here. So last step essentially to get this done is we need to mirror the bridge. So we're going to, again, reset our coordinate system. We're going to reset it along this cross frame here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and mirror this. We're going to go to the top view. Actually, we can't mirror this yet. There's something wrong here with our cross frames. I'm not entirely sure what it is. Let's take a look. So I believe it's this cross frame and this cross frame are offset for some reason. Yes, this one's high, this one's low. We want them to be in the middle here. So it must have just been something that happened with your snapping. We're going to go ahead and fix this. So we set that off, our offset up by 5 inches. So I'm just going to draw another line here. That's 5 inches. Delete that one, drag both of these down in here. We should be able to do the same thing here. 5 inches. Delete this line. Drag both of these up to here. UCS, set our coordinates at cross frame. Let's jump back into top view. Take a quick look. Okay, everything looks good now. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight everything. Type MI for mirror. You mirror it over this midpoint. Press enter. Done. So now you have a very simple bridge here that you can put into SAP to run analysis on. There are a lot of things that I glossed over here. I'm just going to put some vertical pieces of webbing in the center of all these cross frames. There's a lot of things that you would do differently if you had the actual rules. You have, actual dimensions you have to follow, and just different things that you have to do. This was just a quick generic model on how to do this. Got to make sure everything's snapped properly. So this was just here to give you an idea, some of the easy ways to draw a bridge. As you saw, you utilize the mirror command a lot. You utilize copy a lot. So you're not really drawing the whole bridge. You're drawing half or maybe even a quarter of the bridge, and then you're mirroring it out. And this is the quickest way to just draw simple geometry to test it out. You can see I'm missing a cross frame down here. So again, I'm just going to use Control-Shift-C. Copy that like cross frame and paste it in down here. So that's kind of the quick way to do it. Again, there's other ways to do this. There's more complicated things you'll have to keep track of when you're actually drawing a bridge, but this is a good starting point. So next up, there'll be a SAP video using this bridge. It'll show you how to import it, how to run analysis. So make sure you drew this bridge as closely as possible, and you can follow along with that. If not, I'm sure you can ask your project managers if they can give you something to import into SAP to practice on. So thanks for watching. Good luck this year.